This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. The Middle Ground Mike is fighting for truth and unity. Subscribe now or support us today. Links are in the notes. Stand with us. Yeah, and what advice would you give someone listening, right, who feels completely hopeless about the state of this country? How can they get from there to the unity? And just because it's once you break that initial mold, it's a whole lot easier. It's kind of like riding a bike. Once you get a half a block without falling down, it's still a little wobbly, but you're going to get there. But how do you break that mold? Because I think that's where a lot of people that haven't gotten as far as you or I wanting to be like, hey, we want to get this done. We want to figure out how to get along. We want to figure out because we got people starving in this country, and we're worried about if you've got an R next to your name, you want to pay the electric bill, how somehow that's a national tragedy. Or if you've got a D next to you, like how do we get people to just break that mold? Because once they can do that, once we show them that way, it's game over for the extremists.
I think we've both said it multiple times in ways in this conversation. Do something kind,
Yes.
right? And do something to, don't get angry, do something kind, because you will feel unity and you will see it. Open a door, check on a neighbor, pay it forward, buy a coffee, pay it forward, and just give someone a compliment and see that smile, right? Do something kind. And then you are getting out of that angry shell, and the kindness will come back to you, and it starts to positively spiral. Then you can do any of the things, like posting to positive, whatever, but do something. I mean, like, that's where I start. So many of my friends who are like, I'm so mad about this, or I'm so mad about that in politics or in the country. I'm like, wow, don't get mad, do something.
Right.
Yeah. That something could be go volunteer somewhere, right? That's something, do something that makes you feel like you're going to make it a little bit better, right? Because you did one thing and it felt good to you and it made it a little bit better. Then to your point, let me try another thing. That felt good and another thing. But just getting angry, just screaming at, in my case, CNN at that moment in time, did nothing but get me upset. As my wife said, no one's hearing you. What are you going to do?
Right.
You don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to go crazy the way I'm gone crazy and everything else, in the sense of trying to build this movement and do something big. You can do something small. But if you're doing something, you will feel better.
Yeah. No.
So,
A case in point, that would be. It just really dawned on me. My 7-year-old's autistic. He's got when he was like 2. They're pretty much like, we're 4 whenever they diagnose. Yeah, we don't really know what's going to happen with it. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, a lot of the things you guys are calling autism, I don't know, I see a lot of quote unquote normal people do. Chewing on a pen can be a sign of autism or stemming. And I'm like, man, like everybody when I was in high school would have been considered autistic. And I just started like challenging just like some of like the basic concepts of what they were calling autism, like tendencies. And I couldn't accept it. And I said, I said I had speech delay.